Big 12 basketball seed going into March Madness is crucial here, especially for like a BYU who's looking to play in Salt Lake City. How much fun would that be for you to effectively get home court advantage for whoever you play, whether that is a Grand Canyon or even a Utah State getting thrown out there? Awesome, right? Well, it doesn't just matter for you, but the reason I highlight a BYU and even a TCU here is you guys need to improve your seeding quickly. And for BYU being a 5 seed, according to Jerry Palm right now, and around that area for Joe Lunardi, that's pretty good. Here's the problem as a 5 seed. In the Salt Lake City regional, you likely get Grand Canyon in round 1. That sucks. They're good. And then in round 2, the round of 32, you're looking at Auburn. That also sucks. If you can push yourself to a 3 seed, we're in business. We're talking better. Even a 4 seed, put yourself in Auburn's shoes, make Utah State the 5 seed, and I think BYU's got a ticket to the Sweet 16 in that scenario. Before I go on, I do want to mention how teams like Texas as a 9 seed against FAU, that's the current projection, you're going to lose in the first round. Teams like Oklahoma as a 9 seed, you are going to lose in the first round to Dayton. They are very good this season, and to me, they are underseeded. If you're looking at a Texas Tech at the 6 seed facing a play-in opponent, that's massive. Iowa State as a 3 seed, that's massive. For those 2 teams specifically, like I'm fairly okay. I'm definitely okay with where Iowa State is. Baylor's a 2 seed according to Jerry Palm. That's great. Kansas is a 3 seed. I think they're going to be just fine. If you're a Texas Tech, you can improve it a seed or 2, but I do overall like where you sit. If you're Iowa State, I like where you sit. If you're TCU, I don't like TCU playing Florida in round 1. I think TCU would be obviously much better off as a 7 seed rather than a 9 seed where Jerry Palm has them. I think BYU, for who your opponent is, would be better off as a 4 seed, a 3 seed rather than the 5 seed where Jerry Palm has them. I believe that Houston, as the number 1 overall seed in the country, can't get any better. They're an NBA caliber team. You stay right there. However, the problem is that Jerry Palm has Houston playing Gonzaga in round 2, or the winner of Gonzaga and Michigan State, the preseason number 1 team in the country. Those are both pretty tough. Reminds me when Baylor was a 1 seed a couple of years ago and got 8 seed North Carolina, who went to the national championship. That's not a very good draw. And as you already know, as we are into March, it's March 4th today, talking about your draw, talking about your path, who's in your region, that is massive here. 1 bad matchup can bury you in the second round, or 3 favorable matchups can accelerate you into Elite 8 territory faster than you ever thought possible. For a team like a Texas that thinks, we might be fraudulent going into March, maybe not, depending on the matchup you get. But if you're like a Baylor who's a 2 seed, you get Colgate round 1 and think, Colgate has March experience. Is that a dangerous team? Or if you fall to a 3 seed and get Vermont in round 1, Vermont has experience, right? We're also looking at Baylor's in a position where if they win against Colgate, they'll play likely St. Mary's. If they win that one, they'll play Creighton, who knocked them out last year. And you think, can Baylor put up with a Big East team? I don't think so right now. I'm not sure if the Bears can be physical enough to go against a Creighton and win this season. For a BYU again, Grand Canyon, that's a good team. Auburn, that's a good team. For Kansas, though, sitting as a 3 seed right here, if they beat Oakland in round 1 per Jerry Palm, they get Washington State. That's why I don't think we can write off Kansas yet. When I say, and I released a graphic this week that said teams that I'm worried about in the Big 12 in March, BYU's on there because if a bracket like this holds, BYU beating Auburn in round 2 in the round of 32, that is tough. For Kansas, if this holds, beating Oakland in the first round and then in round 2 playing Washington State, that is, you're walking them to the Sweet 16 where they will play North Carolina and things get much tougher. But that's it. And maybe part of this is the brand. There are human beings that put this together. It's not the BCS. Human beings understand where matchups can and should go, and they understand where to put teams for the crowd to travel. Like Kansas playing in Omaha, BYU playing in Salt Lake City, North Carolina being in Charlotte. There are human beings that are trying to make money, and you put teams where their fan base can fairly conveniently travel. That obviously doesn't always work out. It's not foolproof, but you're attempting to do that as often as possible. Like Texas Tech going to Omaha, that's not bad. Iowa State going to Omaha, that's not bad. Arizona being in Salt Lake City against Eastern Washington, I could see how that plays. For you, BYU, for you, TCU, get better. If you're TCU, you don't want to play Florida round 1 or UConn round 2. If you're BYU, you don't want to play Grand Canyon round 1. You don't play Auburn round 2. If you're Iowa State, I like where you are again. If you're Texas Tech at the 6th spot playing a play-in, I like where you are again, even though in round 2 you'd likely get Iowa State according to the CBS bracket. Those are the teams that I really think should be most concerned seeding-wise. Texas, Oklahoma, I just think you're going to lose in the first round anyway. I don't know why right now. Here's where I get on my soapbox about a Kansas State or a Cincinnati. I don't know why right now Cincinnati is so much better than Kansas State per net, but Kansas State can't get into March based on their net rankings, and Cincinnati absolutely can. They're really not in a bad spot. Cincinnati sits at 45 right now, and honestly, the analytics like them. Analytics don't like Kansas State. The net doesn't like Kansas State, and as you well know, that is the one thing you need to make it into March. Is a good net ranking. Cincinnati does sit at 45. Kansas State is sitting right around there at 73. That's not good. However, I wonder why some of these teams, for Joe Lunardi and Jerry Palm, should be the last 4 in or in the tournament, like 18-11 Utah. How about 17-12 St. John's, 19-9 Colorado. Colorado might be the one that makes the most sense. The first 4 out for Palm. Seton Hall at 18-11. Iowa at 18-12 from a dismal Big Ten this season. Villanova at 17-12. Like, make it make sense to me. And maybe this is where I get behind some of these coaches that say that net makes no sense. It's like, why are we ranking Villanova, who's 17-12, number 26 overall in net, and putting Kansas State at number 73 overall when they are 17-12 in the Big 12? That doesn't make any sense to me. I know we can't talk seeding for Kansas State and Cincinnati because they might not make it in, period. But I think they should be getting more. I just don't know. I know I'm like old man yells at cloud. I'm yelling algorithm here. But gosh. How? Why? Coming up, the ACC might not die after all. This is Locked On Big 12, the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The month is here. That is the month we all make money together. I'll be sending you all my best bets, hopefully winning at FanDuel.com. I won again this week because I could pick basketball teams pretty darn well, it turns out. At FanDuel, make the most of March and make the most of the NBA. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's right, $150 if your bet wins. So put $5 on the next Iowa State game for them to win. And if they do, you get $150 in bonus bets. America's #1 sportsbook is FanDuel. Bet on all your favorite NBA players with teams like quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sports book partner of the NBA.